Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to KHM Today, your weekly resource for industry news and straight up fun. I'm your host, Carolyn, and today is September 28th, 2022, and I am live from Windcrest Senior Living Center in Highlands Ranch, Colorado. And you might ask, why in the world is she coming to us from a block down the street from her own home? Well, my power went out about an hour ago, so we had to switch to plan B. So I'm sitting in my mom's apartment here at the Senior Living Center. She's in the den next door doing a jigsaw puzzle with the Eiffel Tower. And so hence the headphones, because she can tend to curse while she's doing jigsaw puzzles. So I wanted to make sure we didn't pick up on that extra noise. Anyways, you guys, we have a great show for you today. We want to start, though, by making sure that all of our friends and colleagues, wishing them our thoughts and prayers as Hurricane Ian hits the East Coast, Florida, South Carolina. So agents, please, if you're in those areas, make sure you're checking in on Facebook or reaching out to someone at KHM if you're a KHM agent. If you need that assistance, if you need any assistance with clients, bookings, whatever, we're here to assist you. To our agents in that area, please be safe, not stubborn, and follow the recommendations of law enforcement. Please don't stay in an area that's not safe. And of course, for everyone, all agents out there, be that rock star agent and be checking in with your clients and being proactive with those bookings and preemptive and trying to figure out solutions for travel within the next few days. So you guys, we have a great show today. It is World Tourism Day. And I do want to say we had a jam-packed show with we've got Hawaii today, we've got Oceania, and we did have National Geographic with us, but unfortunately, Hunter did have to evacuate. He lives in the Florida area and had to evacuate, so I received a note from him first thing this morning. So please keep him and his family in your thoughts and prayers, and he's going to reschedule for another day. But if there is one place that we think of when it comes to an environment and a place that takes care of the environment and really thinks hard about how to protect the beauty of the destination, it is the islands of Hawaii. So please welcome Robyn Basso from Hawaii Visitors and Convention Bureaus. Hi, Robyn.
Hi, Carolyn. Aloha. Thanks so much for having me here today.
Thanks for being here. So, tourism is one of the most important sectors. It employs about one of every 10 people in this world. I think that statistic definitely rings true for the islands of Hawaii. And tourism is back to pre-pandemic levels. And we're seeing astounding projections for 2023 and 2024 already. So tell us a little bit about what Hawaii does to maintain their commitment to offering such a beautiful and safe experience for tourists.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. And, we were fortunate, during the pandemic to fare very well. And I think, like you said, the people of Hawaii have such an appreciation, right, of the beauty, the land, the flora, the fauna. And because Hawaii is the most remote chain of islands in the world, it is critical to protect, this pristine and beautiful environment. And we were already, even pre-COVID, on our way to addressing some of the concerns of over-tourism. As 2019, we actually saw over 10 million visitors for the first time in the destination's history. And, our infrastructure can only accommodate a certain amount of visitors. So we were already implementing things like our Hawaii Rooted campaign, which is all really focused on the culture and giving visitors and advisors a better understanding of the destination. We launched a program called Kuleana, and Kuleana in Hawaiian means responsibility. And it was all about ways that visitors can come to Hawaii and be responsible, travelers. So we were already, addressing some of these concerns pre-pandemic. Well, then you have the pandemic comes, which caused a lot of destinations to take a step back and to really say, how can we create a tourism, a structure that is sustainable long-term for the future. And so, is really a much more concerted effort and a focus on destination management and regenerative tourism. And the objective there is really to balance the economics of tourism, which is, so important to Hawaii, but balancing that with the well-being of the local communities and the natural resources. And, that's encompassed a lot of different ways to address that in terms of more transparent conversation with the local community and the local residents about how we position and how we communicate those important messages. And I really feel, as someone who's always worked with travel advisors, travel advisors are the key. And, as our advocates, as our ambassadors, is really communicating those important messages about why it's so important, right, to be a responsible and a mindful traveler to their clients that are heading to, Hawaii. And the destination management aspect of it is really about, the movement of people around the island, making sure that there's not too many people at any one given place at any given time. And so, one thing that's kind of come out of our helping to address these concerns are more reservations processes being implemented at places that maybe didn't have them before. So for advisors, to put it into, tangible examples, Diamond Head Crater on Oahu, right? Everybody wants to hike up Diamond Head when they go to Oahu. It's an incredible, beautiful experience. So now there are advanced reservations required for a time slot to hike Diamond Head. Now, it is one more thing. It does require a little bit more due diligence, on the part of the advisor. However, when you think about, it is about minimizing the impact, right, of tourism on the natural resources and the local communities. So when you don't have as many people trying to hike up Diamond Head at one time, it's less traffic. The parking situation is much better, and it does minimize the impact. And at the end of the day, it actually delivers a better visitor experience because there's less people that are engaging in that particular activity. So even though it does require a little bit more pre-planning, the clients are honestly going to have a better experience, overall. Couple other examples of that, is Haleakala Crater. Everybody wants to go to the summit, right, at sunrise and see this incredible, beautiful sunrise. But it's, we've had to kind of limit the amount of people. So you have to have a reservation at recreation.gov to make sure that there's enough parking spaces, because we've had obviously such an influx in visitors. And, why Napa State Park, when everybody does the beautiful road to Hana and wants to see that beautiful black sand beach, you now need advanced reservation for a time slot. So there's, like I said, there's, a little bit more due diligence on the, part of the advisors. But, I think it's critical that we address these kind of challenges now so that Hawaii can stay the same incredible destination as it is now for generations and generations to come. And, advisors, again, like I said, can help us communicate these things. And when you talk about regenerative tourism, it's really giving visitors the opportunity to come back, to come to Hawaii, and to leave Hawaii better than when they arrived. Like, what an incredible, feeling and a way to contribute to the destination. And there's lots of easy ways that visitors can do that. Using reef-safe sunscreen or mineral-based sunscreen. I mean, the way that we saw the waters transform with that pause and visitation is absolutely incredible. I mean, I was lucky to spend, I'm based in Chicago, but I got to spend 2 months in Hawaii, January through March of 2021. And I've never seen the water so clean and crystal clear. And part of that was you didn't have as many people. You didn't have this, people using this awful sunscreen. And, so the coral regenerated, the monk seals and the turtles came back on the shore. So we don't want to see that go back to the way it was. So how can we help, that process? So we're encouraging, visitors to use that, mineral-based sunscreen, staying a safe distance from the marine life, the monk seals and the turtles, when they're hiking, to stay on those trails to make sure that they're not impacting the flora and the fauna, supporting ag tourism and local farmers, right? So we can focus on, using what we get from the Aina or the land, and of course, participating in volunteerism opportunities as well that we'll talk more about shortly. So there's lots of things that we're trying to do as a destination. We're involving advisors because they are advocates and ambassadors to help share those important messages.
Robyn, as you're speaking, I was completely taken back to a conversation I had within the last year about Venice. And you were saying the exact same things that I heard in the conversation about Venice. Has Hawaii engaged in these conversations with other destinations around the world?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And especially going through COVID, our governor had reached out to, a variety of different destinations. Alaska has a lot of
Mhm.
similarities. So there were definitely conversations and trying to really gain learnings and best practices, not only talking to other destinations, like I said, but really talking to the local residents and the communities and the stakeholders and figure out how we can all work together,
Mhm.
how we can learn from each other and really make, very, smart choices moving
Yeah.
forward to again really have a Hawaii tourism structure that is this truly sustainable for the future.
Well, and when you think about waters being clear, smog lifting, all of that just, I mean, it just speaks to your experience and how much better it's going to be. And let's face it, we have to leave the planet better. We have to start making some changes so that the planet's still around. So I just love the fact that some of these things are being implemented. Some of them have been implemented for years, but with a little bit more structure and balance, and I think that's amazing. So talk to me about this new program called Malama.
Yeah, I mean, it was really amazing. It was actually launched in November of 2020, so it wasn't that far after the pandemic started. And Malama, if you're not familiar with the term in Hawaiian, means to take care. To take care of our earth, each other, ourselves. It means to preserve, to protect, a variety of different meanings. But you may think about right, what an important concept always. But now, after all of this, more than ever. And so it was the Hawaii Tourism Authority, who is our client, really working with 110 hotel and nonprofit organizations to launch these unique volunteerism opportunities throughout the islands. And, it's anything from, imagine a family being able to go to the North Shore of Oahu to Kualoa Ranch and planting a legacy tree to help with
Mm,
reforestation, or, beach cleanups, or even, helping to make a Hawaiian quilt for a kapuna or an elder in the community. We're not talking about 8 hours of hard labor, out in the field.
right.
We're talking about an hour or two for visitors to come and side by side with residents, to really give back and to do good. And again, leaving Hawaii better than when they arrived. And, we really feel that when people have that opportunity, that, that they're going to feel more connected, to the people, to the place, and the culture, and it is going to deliver kind of more of an enriching experience
Mhm.
overall. And the program has grown, expanded, it's gained a lot of momentum. We're continuing to work with new partners and offer new opportunities, but it's really an incredible experience, and you're doing this in the incredible natural beauty, surrounded by the natural beauty
Yeah.
of Hawaii, so you're not in a bad environment, to be able to be giving back as well. So we have a great list of all of our different volunteerism opportunities on our consumer site. It's gohawaii.com/voluntourism. So it lists by island all of these wonderful volunteerism opportunities. Some of them you do have to book in advance. Some of them there might be a cost that goes into supporting, that entity or that community. Others, if it's just, kind of a show up beach cleanup. So there's a variety of different things based on, kind of what the clients might be looking for.
What are the best resources for advisors to gain more knowledge? I know I've been booking Hawaii for years, and it wasn't until we spoke that, I was like, oh my gosh, I've got, couple sets of clients going to Hawaii over the next 9 months. I better make sure that they've got reservations for these things. Haleakala Sunrise was always a given, Pearl Harbor always a given, but Diamond Head new to
Right.
me. And so, where's the best place for advisors to look on for those updates so that they're not leaving their clients in the dust?
Right. I would say a couple different things. I mean, the number one go-to resource is our agent website. It's agentswithans.gohawaii.com. That is your one-stop shop for destination information, sales and marketing resources, and education and training. I would definitely say if you've never registered before, it'll literally take you under 2 minutes. You've got access to everything. I would definitely recommend advisors to opt into our communications. So we will send, you can opt in for a monthly e-newsletter, but also when anything is newsworthy, like when Diamond had started their reservation
Mhm.
process, your advisors will be on the list to receive that information. So I definitely think signing up for that would be great. We do have a quarterly PR update too, which has a lot of great information, not only about those reservation processes, but new airlift, hotel renovations, festivals, activities, all of that kind of stuff. And then, our certification program is phenomenal too, where agents can really delve a little bit deeper and learn more about Hawaii as well. And if they're looking for some great content to share with their clients, our YouTube channel has incredible video content. YouTube.com/Go Hawaii. We have these wonderful Malama Hawaii videos, which are beautifully, they're visual, they're engaging, and they feature these local ambassadors talking about why, again, mindful travel is so important. So your advisors can, review, they can view and share these incredible videos from our channel through their social channels as well, which again would be great to really help us perpetuate that important message too.
Perfect. Well, I can't thank you enough for being here today and supporting the beauty of Hawaii on World Tourism Day. It's one of my favorite destinations. I grew up going there as a kid almost every year, and it holds such a special place in my heart that it's wonderful to see there's so much effort being made to protect it.
Absolutely. It is one of obviously my favorite places. My whole professional career has pretty much been representing these beautiful islands. And, it's my privilege and my kuleana, my responsibility to make sure, again, generations to come to experience the same beautiful Hawaii that I know as well. So.
Oh, wonderful. And one of our agents says there's a Go Hawaii app. So use that as well. Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right. Have a great rest of your day. And thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Carolyn. Aloha. Mahalo.
Thank you. All right, you guys, I'm excited to welcome our next guest. He is a first timer to KHM today. Please welcome Guillaume Cameron, Business Development Manager for Oceania Cruises. Hello.
Hi, Caroline. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thanks. Yeah, thanks for having me today. It's
absolutely.
I know it's always pretty busy at the moment. We've been launching a few things at the moment, so hopefully keeping everybody busy.
Just a few things. It's funny. I'm not usually one to watch the Weather Channel, but I feel like that's all I've been doing for the last 2 weeks.
No kidding.
Yeah. But we know our advisors out there are doing the best they can for their clients and watching everything. But I'm so glad you're here today on World Tourism Day. And Oceania is an amazing line, so boutique and offers such a special experience for agents. And one of the things that really struck me was the start of these Go Green tours. Can you share with agents a little bit about what that entails?
Yeah, absolutely. It was part of a larger project called Go Next. So obviously in the pandemic, when we weren't sailing for essentially 2 years, we had an overall summation of how we're providing different facilities on board, as well as these different types of tours. And as such, this is it was one of these creations that came out of this planning stage, where we're able to offer our Go Green tours along with a number of different specialized tours. They really kind of fit in well with the mentality of the travelers that we have coming on board with us. Our guests are what we kind of call our curious travelers. So a lot of them are pretty well traveled. A lot of them have kind of been there and done that, and they're kind of looking either for that next destination to go to, or if they have been in that destination, they're kind of looking for a slightly different view of it over and all in terms of immersion in that destination. So the Go Green tours, they offer like an enrichment opportunity to experience ways in which the local communities and businesses are endeavoring to conserve and sustain and elevate the surrounding environment. So really kind of going into different types of tours throughout the world, in terms of like conservation or in terms of sustainability. So actually a good couple of examples of this, and I was actually lucky enough to be on a sailing at the end of July there, where we visited into Rhodes in Greece, and they actually have a couple of different types of Go Green tours. One of which is looking at the environmental impact and a visit into one of the sea turtle sanctuaries in there. So there's a rehabilitation for sea turtles where they, obviously there's a ton of shipping in the Mediterranean, where obviously some of these sea turtles have kind of come into difficulties. And it's a whole rehabilitation process of how they're getting these turtles in. Along with, so that's kind of like the wildlife environmental impact of that as well. Rhodes itself is actually a completely sustainable island from its energy. So we actually have a different tour there, which will go into the details in and around the solar farms. So it's kind of, it kind of caters to a lot of different tastes, right, especially with a lot of our guests. We have a lot of guests who are kind of ex-professionals that kind of come from like that engineering background. So that kind of, like visits to solar farms, I'm sure some of your guests out there today are just like, oh my God, I couldn't think of anything more boring in my life. But we have that engineering type of guests out there who are like, actually, that sounds really interesting to me as well.
One of the ones that looked cool to me, it was in Tallinn, Estonia. Yep. And this is a destination that is always, if you've ever done a Baltic or a Northern Europe cruise, it's the destination that always surprises people the most, that they like it. They actually love it. And this one was, where are my notes here? It's a lady who makes clothing out of she upcycles discarded waste materials, and she makes clothing out of that. And you go and you visit her store and learn how she does this. I thought that was fascinating. And what a cool destination.
And that's it. It's kind of that niche appeal that we have. So, that's one part of the tours that we had built through this Go Next project. Actually, another one that we built through this Go Next project is one called Blueprints and Beyond. So again, kind of appealing to those guests who have that kind of engineering or architectural background, where, it's not just like a visit to say, oh, here's the Guggenheim and look how fantastic it looks. It's actually going into like the detailed architecture in regards to that. One really neat one that we do have is in the south of France, where we actually visit the Airbus factory, where you actually go and see the production line of the aircraft and how they're built. Yeah, exactly. So again, it's kind of like, you don't necessarily think about like, oh, we want to go visit aircraft when we're on vacation, but it really blends into that sub niche of, those really niche type of tours that will inspire guests when they're in that destination. It really is about inspiration when we're on board. It also, the Go Green is also like part of a larger project within Oceania as well. So it's not just us visiting into, these sustainability projects, but actually we live by that mantra also whilst on board. So for example, as part of the Go Next project, we actually eliminated all plastic bottle usage on board. So we've actually replaced it with what we call a Vero water system. So it's a filtration system and fountain system throughout the ship, where where still and sparkling water is included. And then for all our guests, we provide like a steel water bottle for them to go out and about on. So prior to them getting off the ship, instead of having the big table full of plastic bottles of water, we are able to give them. We've got this filtration system, which was it's really works well for the guests. And in doing that, we've actually eliminated 3 million plastic bottles of water from last year. So it's a small part, but going into that sustainability.
It is a small part, but in our generation, right? I feel like we grew up with the water fountain. If you needed a drink at school, you used a water fountain, and then as we got older, right, it was the bottles of water. My children have done nothing but bring a big water bottle that's reusable to school.
Yeah.
They don't understand this concept of, taking a bottle, drinking it and throwing it away. That's not their thing. They all have these giant hydro flasks and this is how they roll. They don't care if it weighs an extra 3 pounds off their backpack. This is just how they are. So whereby it's small, I think it's important for those of us in our generation that are so used to that accessibility to water and changing our habits. And, this would not faze my kids. They'd think, well, of course, this is what they do. But for passengers like me, it's a huge change, and a good one, and a really good one.
And the good thing with that too is that system is completely included on board as well. So it's not that you're getting charge per liter of water that
Right.
or gallon
Right,
of
right.
water that you're that's always included in the cost of the cruise as well.
That's
so
great.
that makes a big difference to the guests too.
So Guillaume, one of the things that I think is so cool is that Oceania really made headlines a bit ago when the 2023 World Cruise sold out like that.
Yes.
And now we had 2024 and 2025 on the books.
Yeah.
What's going on here? Why do we think that this is just flying off the shelf like hotcakes?
So there's really three things that have really been driving this demand more than anything else. So probably one of the biggest trends in cruising that we have seen recently is the trend to small ship sailing. Mm-hmm. I've been talking with a lot of advisors out there, and through conversations, I seem to be getting a very similar theme where they're talking to their guests. They're like, hey, listen, we still have the confidence to go sailing. We're looking for that next destination, but maybe gone are the days of us being on a vessel of 3,000 or 4,000 passengers. They're looking for, more sustainable numbers. They're looking for less lineups. Many of them are looking for more immersion. So definitely when it comes to these smaller destinations that we're going into, with these specialized tours that we just mentioned, it really goes into the part and parcel of kind of creating these memories around it. So that's definitely probably been one of the biggest drivers as well. Additionally to that, guests are booking longer sailings than we've ever seen before. So again, we're in that kind of nice kind of sweet spot of around about like a 10 to 12 day average for a lot of our guests. Now, we're seeing a lot of new to brand guests coming in saying, listen, I've not been able to travel for the last 18 months, 2 years. So I'm going to make up for the time that I've not been out there. So those guests who maybe traditionally were on those kind of 12 to 20 day sailings, they're like, you know what, let's do 30, let's do 40, let's do 180, right?
Right.
So we've seen more demand for those longer sailings, predominantly because people have missed out in the last 2 years. And as such, because we have that smaller capacity on board, it does mean that we're booking out fairly quick and fairly out into the future. So that's driving that advance further forward more than ever before. So really at Oceania, we're trying to get as much inventory into your hands as possible so that you can communicate it out to your guests. Definitely one of the things that people ask in terms of like trying to sell Oceania successfully, the advisors that are selling us most successfully are the ones who are communicating out when we're launching these itineraries. As a line, we don't really fall into kind of the traditional wave model. We don't really tend to have like one big wave season at the start of January. We have all these mini waves throughout the season whenever we're launching these new itineraries. And really those advisors are the successful ones, are the ones that are telling them, hey, you know what, we've got a preview of all their itineraries coming up this week. Yeah. Next week, this is when it's opening up the books. So let's work this week to figure out which sailing you want, which category cabin you want to go on. So when it opens up, we're there and then on the spot able to make that booking for you so that you're not missing out. As you mentioned, like our 2023 sold out. Our 2024 actually sold out within 30 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
We launched it back in April. And this is the first calendar year where we've actually launched 2 around the world sailings in the span of 6 months, essentially. It's normally we're launching them a year, like the same time every year. So it really is, the demand's unprecedented out there at the moment for those sailings. So yeah.
It's amazing. Well, and part of these sailings and being a small ship is Oceania has grand voyages. And these are, if you're ever just sitting at home and you need something to look at, it's online. The pictures are stunning. The descriptions are fantastic, but it's the coolest itineraries, the coolest ports of call, and the experiences, that immersion that you were speaking about really just totally rings through on all these different voyages. And they're a little lengthier, but wow, are they jam-packed.
Yes, I mean, that's one of the things that demand, like our guests are really demanding, is that, even though they're going, like, for example, we have a 111-day grand sailing going from Papeete all the way through to Barcelona. So with that, you're getting in Australia, you're getting in Asia, you're getting in part of India, the Maldives, into South Africa. we're one of the few lines that actually cover the west coast of Africa as well. We're getting in, Namibia, we're getting in Ghana, we're getting in Senegal. There's some really interesting ports, again, off that beaten path that some of those guests have maybe not traditionally been to before. So again, that really creates that demand out there just purely on the itineraries alone. It's, as you say, they really are stunning.
Just stunning and so much fun. Well, one of the other things I love about you guys is that you have a chef that posts recipes. And this is National Hispanic Month. And there is a recipe for empanadas, which I happened to make last night with my son. So I want to show you guys all my beautiful creation. Look at that. This is and Sam's going to put the recipe in the description for anyone that would like to give these a try. There's potato and chicken and poblano peppers in there and some cumin and all sorts of good stuff. So my commitment to Oceania, there you have it. I cooked for you. Too bad I've been smelling them for the last 36 minutes, but they smell fantastic. I have yet to taste them. So I'll do that offline just in case I didn't do such a good job with it. My face will tell it all. But Guillaume, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. It was great to see you again.
No, thank you very much. And, thanks for all the support out there from KHM. Really appreciate it as always.
You bet. You bet. Have a great day and stay safe.
Bye.
Bye-bye. You guys, thank you all for joining us today as we makeshift. We're moving around the city of Littleton as bringing you the show from Windcrest Retirement Center. But thank you to all of our sponsors, especially Apple Leisure Group, our overall sponsor for the show, and everyone's support. We just absolutely love being here with you. Next week, guys, special guest Gary Murphy, one of the co-owners of AMA Waterways, will be here with us. He has sort of retired from his day job, but not really. I figured if you still have an AMA Waterways email address, you're still part of the company. And he is going to talk to us about all sorts of sales tactics. So I'm so excited for him to be here. Such a wonderful guy. We'll see you next week, everyone. Stay safe. Be sure to be in touch if you are in the eye of the hurricane and need some assistance with your bookings for KHM agents only, unfortunately. Thanks, guys, so much. Have a great day.